I visited Russia not because I ran from death, but because death failed to silence truth. An assassin's bullet cannot stop a continent waking up. And yes, I speak for Nnamdi Kanu, Biafra, and other voices jailed for ideas. Let it be known, pressure will not bend us. Africa is rising and no shadow can stop dawn.
Africa is boiling as Ibrahim Traore takes bold step on Nnamdi Kanu's imprisonment after escaping assassination. Watch the full video. Share your idea and tell us where you are watching from in the comments section below.
I did not come here to hide. I came here to speak plainly. Africa must diversify its friendships, its economics, and its thinking. The era where our destinies were negotiated in rooms where Africans were absent is ending. The world is reorganizing, and Africa must not be the last to understand that neutrality without strategy is submission. Let us be honest with ourselves. Africa is not poor, Africa is plundered. Africa is not weak, Africa is restrained. Africa is not divided by nature. Africa is divided by design. And when leaders begin to say these things consistently, without fear and without permission, the system reacts. Pressure is applied. Threats are issued. Sometimes assassination is attempted, but I am still standing. And as long as I stand, I will continue to agitate not for chaos, but for consciousness. Not for violence, but for clarity. Not for revenge, but for memory. Africa's greatest enemy is not the gun. It is amnesia. Once a people forget who they are and how they arrived where they are, they become easy to manage. Africa must remember that before colonial borders, we had nations. Before imposed flags, we had identities. Before extractive economies, we had systems built around people, not profit. Today, we are told that questioning these imposed structures is dangerous, that demanding justice is destabilizing, that asking for self-determination is extremism. But what is more dangerous than injustice left to rot? From the Sahel to the Congo, from Sudan to the Niger Delta, the pattern is the same: resources extracted, voices suppressed, resistance criminalized, and history distorted. Yet the people persist. Which brings me to a matter many leaders are advised to avoid, but avoidance has never saved Africa. The Biafran question is not noise. It is not propaganda. It is not a recent invention. It is a memory that refuses to die. Biafra is not merely a name. It is a wound that was never treated. It is blood that was never fully acknowledged. It is a war whose lessons were buried instead of learned. When people say Biafra, they are not shouting for disorder. They are demanding recognition. They are asking for justice. They are asking for a referendum. They are saying, *ka any KPB onwe any times, let us decide our future ourselves. Self-determination is not terrorism. Asking political questions is not treason. Identity is not a crime. You cannot build unity by force and expect loyalty. You cannot silence history and expect peace. Stability built on silence is temporary, it always is. This is why the issue remains alive, not because of one man, not because of one organization, but because justice was postponed. And postponed justice does not disappear, it accumulates interest. On the Nnamdi Kanu, let us speak truthfully. He is not the problem, he is a symbol. Symbols emerge when institutions stop listening. Symbols gain power when dialogue is replaced with repression. You cannot jail an idea. You cannot chain a people's consciousness. When states inherit colonial security doctrines but refuse to confront colonial injustice, they create permanent tension. They police symptoms instead of addressing causes. Africa must learn this lesson urgently. Treating political questions as criminal matters only deepens the crisis. Listening is not weakness. Dialogue is not surrender. Now, let me say something uncomfortable, something rarely said openly. Africa is not unstable because Africans cannot govern themselves. Africa is unstable because too many governments are still governed by external interests. When foreign capital dictates domestic policy, democracy becomes decoration. When security partnerships prioritize pipelines over people, resistance becomes inevitable. This is not coincidence, it is structure. That is why voices like mine are targeted. Not because we are flawless, but because we are consistent. We are predictable in one thing: we will not sell the future for temporary comfort. Pan-Africanism is not poetry. It is responsibility. A wound in one part of Africa weakens the whole continent. Burkina Faso's struggle for sovereignty is connected to Niger's. Congo's minerals are connected to Mali's instability. The cry of Biafra is connected to every border drawn without consent. If we defend sovereignty only when it is convenient, then we defend nothing. To the youth of Africa, do not be weaponized by hopelessness. Hopelessness is a tool of control. Cynicism is a cage. Division is strategy. Organize your minds before your marches. Understand history before attempting to rewrite it. Resistance without vision becomes noise. Revolution without discipline becomes tragedy. They tried to assassinate me because fear is cheaper than reform. But leaders who fear their people have already failed. Governments confident in their legitimacy do not panic at dissent. Africa does not need more strongmen. Africa needs strong institutions and honest conversations. To the world watching Africa through spreadsheets instead of conscience, the era of silent extraction is ending. You may partner with us, but you will not dictate to us. Africa will no longer trade generations for contracts signed in secrecy. You may jail men, you may disrupt movements, but you cannot arrest a dawn. From Ouagadougou to Aba, from Accra to Onitsha, from the Sahel to the southeast, Africa is thinking again, remembering again, speaking again. And this time we will not whisper. Africa will rise not by permission, but by purpose.